Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer channel episode. And this episode, it is not dress up day, it is a genuine proper review of Queen of the World, the new ITV documentary about the Queen. I'm hoping everyone can make it because, okay, this is the moment I'm going to unveil. There we go. You'll see why I'm wearing this in a little bit. So I want to make sure my tiara is straight. Okay, I am actually wearing the Queen Mary diamond bandeau in honour of Meghan because she featured very heavily in the Queen of the World documentary, which we will talk about. I have a whole list of notes which I really want to get through. So we're going to kind of go straight into it, but I am going to open the chat first, because I want to know what you guys are all saying. So let's find the chat window. But yes, I'm going to give you my honest opinion, my honest review on the Queen of the World documentary that was out. Okay, there we go. I have the chat room open. So if you post anything, I will be able to speak to you. There we go. I'll put it on live chat as well so that I get everything in real time, which is what I want. So there we go. So I'm going to start with, because I've got kind of quite structured notes because I want it to be, I want to go through it quite methodically. So the documentary was called Queen of Our World. It aired, well, episode 1, there are two parts, two episodes. So episode 1 aired the 25th of September, which was last night, at 9:15 p.m. in the UK. And I am sure that you have found the clips or even the full programme somewhere out there. And I do believe that it airs in different countries at all kinds of different times. So the purpose of it was to highlight the Queen's role as head of the Commonwealth and as a central focus and passion for the Queen. So it is one of the Queen's most important focuses and central passions of her role as Queen, and also for the other members of the royal family, because in a supportive role the Commonwealth also has a huge impact on their lives and their royal work within supporting the Queen in that capacity. For example, it's played a huge part in Prince Charles's life and Princess Anne, and of course they were in the documentary talking, which we'll get to later. Rather, Princess Anne was, but also, you know, featured the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, kind of representing the younger generation, which again we'll get to in a moment. So it followed the royals around for 1 year, and ITV had exclusive access to them during this time. And one of the first scenes after the introduction was the Queen recording her Christmas message, and she kind of grinned and smiled because there was a little bit of bird song going on outside, and the recorder, or the sound man I think it was, asked her to redo it, and she said, from the top of page 2, and he said, no ma'am, from the top completely, and she kind of said, again, and it was because of all this bird noise. So it's kind of like a little light-hearted look into that recording, but of course the Queen would have wanted to have got the Commonwealth message right and perfect for the Commonwealth, so of course she obliged, and there was no problem in her re-recording it from the top, because of course she is known as, is it one take Windsor, because she usually gets everything in one take, but this time it wasn't her fault, it was the bird song, my goodness. So yes, I was talking about that one. There was also, it showed Prince Harry arriving in the corridor. Now there were a lot of Caribbean apprentices who've come from some of the Caribbean nations, and they had come to serve an apprenticeship at Buckingham Palace in different capacities, including chefs and all that kind of thing. So Prince Harry met them, and this was, I think he met them, I think it was towards the start of their apprenticeship, so he was talking, that's where he made the comment about the Queen, about if you see her in the corridor everyone gets nervous, and we do too. So that was quite a funny moment, and he does have the knack of putting people at ease, I do feel. So that was a really good moment, which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed the more candid moments, I think, during this documentary. So it followed the Caribbean workers around during their apprentices, and it focused on them and kind of like their story and what the Commonwealth meant to them and what this chance represented to them to come to the UK and to serve their apprenticeships in the palace. which I thought was a really nice touch to kind of add a more human and grounded approach to it. And also it kind of showed what the Commonwealth meant to young people today in the Commonwealth, which I thought was a really, really, really nice touch. Now, one part that I think has caused a little bit of a stir on the internet was the Meghan's dress segment. And that's why I'm dressed like this, with my little bouquet. Yes, this is why I am dressed like this, because it's kind of caused a little bit of controversy with the whole Meghan wedding dress and the veil with the 53 Commonwealth countries sewn onto it, which was, of course, was a lovely, lovely, lovely touch. But it's caused a bit of controversy, not because of Meghan or anything like that, but because of the way that the documentary was edited. So it seemed like, and when I was watching it, I thought exactly the same thing. Almost the same piece of footage with Meghan talking about the veil and all the flowers that were embroidered into it was shown, I think it must have been about 3 times. It really was about 3 times. And it was a little bit much because they kind of showed the footage, then they went to an advert break, then they kind of showed it again, and then probably about half an hour into the programme they showed the same footage again. It was a little bit too much of a good thing. The footage was really, it was pertinent, it should have been there. The whole idea of kind of Meghan being there was to kind of show that the younger generation are taking up a little bit of the slack and are pushing the Commonwealth forward. So I got why she was there, and I understood why they were showing the dress, why she was pointing out the flowers, because that was her way of representing the Commonwealth on their big day. And she did make, a few, really lovely points. She mentioned about the something blue being sewn into the veil, that it was a piece of her dress that she first wore when she met Harry on their first date. She mentioned that Harry didn't know about all the flowers that were being sewn into the dress. The royal family didn't know either. She mentioned that they were really pleasantly surprised and it was very gratefully received. It was, a representation of the Commonwealth which touched the Queen and other members of the royal family. So there were lots of really pertinent pieces of information that were revealed there. Oh, by the way, we did speak, I think it was in one of my other chats, about what was the Canadian flower that was represented on the dress. And that was revealed in Queen of the World. We all thought it may have been the maple leaf, but no. The flowers were actually wildflowers that were embroidered onto the veil. And the wildflower, apparently, of the Canadian nation is actually the bunchberry. So it was the bunchberry. I'd not even heard of a bunchberry, but I googled it. It does exist. So it's the Canadian bunchberry. There you go. Who knew? I didn't know, but we learnt it from Queen of the World. So there we go. We learned that she hadn't seen the veil until it was shown to her actually on her wedding day, and this was the first time that she'd been reunited with the dress in its entirety since the May wedding. She also, I think, only had kind of 3 meetings with the Givenchy designer, Claire Waite-Keller, so a few details were indeed revealed. And I think that's all about that section. I'm going to go now because I still have lots to talk about, but I'm going to go to the comments section because I haven't turned to you guys for a while. So I'm going to hopefully zoom up to them. Aria says, looking great, super excited to watch. Haven't been able to see it yet. I'm sure it's going to be aired very, very, very soon. Maslas says, you look like Jesus. It's Meghan's veil with the tiara. Can you see the tiara? Look. Cheryl says, hello Elliot. Hello from Barbados. We have a tropical storm. Oh no! I hope everyone's okay, wherever the tropical storm is. Let's have a look. I'm trying to scroll all the way down. Live, love and laugh says, hey Elliot, you got on the live show this time, yay. A bit late, what's up with the veil? It's Meghan's tiara and veil, because we're talking about the Queen of the World. And of course she showed her veil, didn't she? So there we go. This is me in Meghan's wedding dress, or rather Meghan's wedding veil. Right, I'm going to carry on with some of my notes, and we'll talk about the Princess Royal, because she featured also quite heavily in it. Oh, by the way, people were also complaining about the Queen not featuring very much in it. And I think she will do. Don't forget, it's a two-parter, and we did also see kind of early footage about the Queen on her initial tour in the Commonwealth, which I thought was a really nice touch. We also saw about the role of the Royal Yacht Britannia, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I want to cover the Princess Anne, who talked very openly and candidly about life as a child, growing up within the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth being a part of her life and going on kind of the early tours and that kind of thing, and when they were teenagers and when they were youngsters on board the Royal Yacht, which I thought was really, really lovely. She also shined a light, which I thought was quite interesting, on her own personal opinion about the way that the Royal Walkabout is going. And she kind of, the whole documentary introduced the Walkabout. It kind of said about how it came about, and I think it was during one of the Commonwealth tours that the Queen, I think it may have even been Canada, where the Queen first introduced the walkabout, because she wanted to shake things up a little bit in the 70s. And it was always kind of intended that the walkabout wasn't a shaking hand exercise, because it was kind of accepted that you can't shake hands with everybody. So the Princess Anne, still says that she sticks to that motto, although she says that other members of the family see it differently. And it kind of highlighted a little bit of a difference of opinion and a difference of interpretation about the Royal Walkabout between Princess Anne's traditionalist view, and I would probably say the Duke of Edinburgh and the Queen probably still follow this to a T, but maybe some of the younger members of the royal family. And it did show a clip of Charles as well, doing lots of handshaking, and the Princess Royal also had a little bit of a dig, I think, at the kind of social media generation, with people always taking photographs and not enjoying the moment. She kind of said in a roundabout way that, you know, people don't think it really happened unless it was captured on camera, which I think was a very reverent look at reality, because that is the reality of today. People, you know, are always trying to capture things on their iPads, and she joked that, you know, she couldn't really see people because all she could see was iPads, and they're the worst. And so she did have a little bit of a dig, I think, at social media, which I kind of agree with, I think, because I think people should enjoy the moment, especially if you're on a royal visit, because you aren't probably going to get that chance again. So just enjoy the visit. We also learnt about the Royal Yacht Britannia, and it showed a lovely clip of the Queen launching the Royal Yacht Britannia, and it kind of showed her a little bit forlorn, because of course it was commissioned by her father, who had kind of just passed away, so she saw it completed. She had a hand in its internal design. It's been the only home which she's actually been able to kind of furnish and design from scratch. So of course that's why it kind of meant quite a lot to her when it got decommissioned, because it really was her home and she saw it as a home. And it showed how the Royal Yacht Britannia was instrumental in getting her around the Commonwealth on this monolithic, 6-month tour. It said that, no other reigning monarch has ever undertaken such an undertaking in terms of a tour. It really was a tour designed to introduce her to the Commonwealth, and she was gratefully received by all the different countries and nations. So you can understand why she, shed a tear when Britannia was decommissioned, because it really was important. And I kind of feel like, maybe Britain needs a new royal yacht. I know it's going to be very controversial to say that, but I really do think that, in times that we're in now, having some kind of universal trade ship, representation of Britain across the seas would be a good idea, I think, in terms of representation, and also could play a really good part with the Commonwealth for the future. It also showed Meghan again on some of the Commonwealth engagements, and it showed some of the Caribbean youth talking about what they feel about Meghan joining the royal family. And one young man in particular spoke very openly about how he thought Meghan had kind of changed the face of the monarchy, and how Meghan had opened it up and made kind of, it's hard to describe, but she represents people, now people in the Commonwealth really feel like, and this was his words, he said that, you know, through her mother, Doria, who as a black woman obviously had Meghan, who is mixed race, and it's really opened up the Commonwealth in people's minds. And it's kind of shown that the monarchy is changing, and that there is a changing face and a changing representation within the monarchy. And he said that he felt that was a really positive element to Meghan joining the royal family. Let me know your thoughts on that. I really would like to know your thoughts and comments on that. Now, what I didn't like about the documentary, there was one thing I didn't like about the documentary, and that was the repeated Meghan elements. I mean, it was repeated about 3 times, this kind of scene over and over and over again, and I just feel like it was just a little bit too much. Too much of a good thing. It was a good thing, like I say, it was all really pertinent, but it was kind of too much of a good thing. I want to know your thoughts on that too. Now I'm going to go to the comments section because I think a few more of you have kind of turned up. Wendy says, just came in, love the veil, thank you so much. I'll put it down again in a moment. Donna says, hello Elliot, veil is a nice touch. Cheryl says, I must say, Meghan looked lovely yesterday, and I loved the way she participated in the netball drill when she and Harry visited the university the day before. She's had some really good engagements recently. Vinnie Blair says, what's happening here? Think you look like one of the 3 kings who came top of the visit the baby Jesus in the stable. That's a good thing. It's Meghan's veil. Look at the tiara. Aria says, I just found the episode and I'm so excited I'm going to watch it right now. You should. Blue, red, yellow, green says, why didn't I get a notification? I don't know. The nerve. It's YouTube playing up. Hola to blue, red, yellow, green. Vinnie Blair says, part 1 seems to be passing on the baton to Meghan with respect to her taking up duties throughout the Commonwealth, endorsing her, so to speak, as she goes out. I think it's a PR piece so far. That's one really interesting way of putting it. There was a lot of Meghan, but I think we'll see a lot more of the royal family, different royals, in episode 2. So I'll wait to judge it as a whole once we've seen it as a whole, because we are only going on episode 1. I think we do have to bear that in mind. Alegna says, hello Elliot, I love the documentary. I did too, I really did enjoy it. And yes, this is about the documentary Our Queen. And by the way, there was one really interesting part in it where the interviews, I forget who it was, but this one person was saying, doesn't matter where you are in the world, if you say to somebody, who is the Queen, they automatically think of Elizabeth II. And I think that's really, really true. There may be other queens, but there is only the Queen, and that is Queen Elizabeth II. Alegna says, can't she have a British accent? Are we talking about Meghan? There is talk, I know, about her losing her accent. I didn't notice the accent change, I have to say. Maybe that's because I'm British, and to me, she still sounds American. But maybe if you are American or Canadian or that kind of way on in the world, maybe you have noticed a bit of a change in her accent. But personally, I haven't noticed her sounding more British. And yes, she did include the Californian poppy as well into the design. So she had the 53 Commonwealth wildflowers in there, but also some flowers which meant something to her too. Countess Bavaria says, Meghan does not have a British accent. As a rather posh-speaking Brit myself, I hear nothing but a soft American accent. I would agree. I would agree 100% with you. Squealer49 says, where did you get that beautiful tiara? Amazon! You can get anything on Amazon. By the way, if you type in Meghan Markle tiara, it will come up. There's 2 versions. There's a more expensive one and a cheaper one. This is the more expensive one. Although they do look very similar, but go for the more expensive one. Grace Fraser says, just noticed your live chat, so glad to see you. Glad to hear your thoughts on the documentary. Cheryl says, leave Meghan alone. She is Meghan, but Madonna, and she does not want to be. Oh, yes, because people are comparing the accent to Madonna's kind of Mockney accent that she had when she was over here. Blue, red, yellow, green says, Queen of Our Earth begins here in the States on Monday on HBO. Okay, so it's Queen of Our World. Vinnie Blair says, repetition, Ari, Meghan is because it is a PR promotion for Meghan as a bona fide royal as she goes out into the Commonwealth. Part 2 may not feature her at all. I agree, we're going to have to reserve judgment on that one. But I do think that, obviously, Catherine has been on maternity a lot this year. So, yeah, I think she was included quite a lot, but maybe not a PR stunt. I think it was to introduce her. I think it definitely was to introduce her to the Commonwealth and to get Commonwealth people's opinions on her. Arnold Sanders says, I think it's because she said over the moon. Is that a British phrase? Do you not say over the moon elsewhere? I don't know. Squealer says, Meghan's accent has not changed at all. I don't register a detection in a change of accent at all. Now, have I forgot anything that I wanted to talk about? I don't think I have. No. How many people are watching? 87. If you are watching, please give this a really big thumbs up. And if you want to see the veil down again, I did put this on just for you guys. Look. And it's like when Harry lifted the veil and there was Meghan under there. There we go. It could have been me. No. So seriously, my kind of basic review of it is I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the show. I am looking forward to episode 2. I want to see if I can get my veil to go over there. There we go. I am looking forward to episode 2. I will definitely be watching it. I think it was a worthwhile programme. It showed lots of kind of older footage as well, which I really, really liked. I liked the emphasis on Britannia. I liked Princess Anne's straight talking. I thought that was really, really good. Just a little bit too much of the same clip over and over again of Meghan for my liking. And that's kind of just about it. Maslas says it's on October the 1st here in the States on HBO, and I'll be sure to watch it. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it. I look forward to seeing Meghan speaking. Hello to Rodney Jackson and everyone. Rodney says, looking cute, having a cracker up. Cheryl says, you are too much. Blue, red, yellow, green says, the white veil and the Commonwealth flag makes you look quite saintly and virginal. Oh my god, it does, doesn't it? Look! If I do that behind and then kind of... Oh, it does, doesn't it? The Virgin Reviewer. There we go. Oh, that's got to be my thumbnail. Hang on. I know I've already got a thumbnail, but this has to be my thumbnail. Oh, okay, that's a good thumbnail. I think I've got it on fleek. Loving the halo behind me. And yes, it is October the 31st. No, it isn't October the 31st. It's nearly September the 31st, isn't it? It's September the 26th today. So yeah, not far off. No, September doesn't have a 31st. It ends on the 30th. I just checked on my laptop. Okay, so that is my assessment, my review of Queen of the World. Please let me know your thoughts in that comment section below. If you've enjoyed this video, then please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media and also hit the notification bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So from me in Shropshire, goodbye.